Hello, everyone, and welcome to SPE Live, another SPE Tech Talk coming right at you. So excited to be here with you guys today. And today here with us, talking to us, is Catalyst Energy. And today's discussion will be about balancing better return on investment while decreasing emissions. I'm your host, David Gibson, and this is going to be an absolutely amazing show. I know that this week we've got the SPE IADC drilling conference going on. Today we're talking about frac stuff. So glad that you guys are here to join us today. And by joining us, be a part of the show, right? We want you to be able to interact with us here on the show today. So we've got two amazing people coming on to the show. We want you to be able to, throw out your comments, right? Let us know what you are thinking throughout the course of the discussion. Also, please be sure to give us your questions and let the experts be able to answer. Obviously, not me, right? And then last but not least, let us know where you're watching from and if you've ever seen one of the SPE Tech Talks prior or in the past. And yeah, that's it. That's all your homework for right now. Just let us know where you're watching from, and then if you've got questions or comments, please throw them out here at us. All right. Joining me today are a pair of innovators. First, let's introduce CEO and co-founder of Catalyst Energy Services, Bobby Chapman. A thought leader and startup specialist, Bobby has more than 40 years of industry experience. His current work focuses on new technologies and fracturing aimed to improve operating efficiency and lower environmental impact. Also, on today's discussion is more executive VP operating officer. His passion is engineering new technologies for the betterment of the energy sector. Welcome to this SPE Tech Talk, and thank you both so much for being here.
Good morning, David. Thank you for having us.
All right.
Good morning.
So, thank you, guys. All right. So, to the audience, we do have two poll questions for you today. So, tell us what you're thinking in the chat about them. All right. But question number one, what is the greatest pressure on frac operators in the industry today? Increasing ROI for investors, decreasing emissions, better efficiency, faster production, or other? Type it into the comments. Let us know. Question number two, what matters most to your company? BPM, I'm guessing that's barrels per minute because I'm not on the frac side, so I'm not 100% sure what that acronym is. Emissions, waste, safety, E, all the above, or other? Oh, my connection's going in and out. Not good. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. For those watching right now, be sure to go in and answer the questions. And if for whatever reason my stream continues to cut out and I have to step off, we will have somebody jump in right away and fill in for me. So we'll jump into the questions right here, right now. Bobby, let's start with you. Seth, if you could follow up, what are you seeing and hearing as the most common challenge in fracking that operators are facing today?
Well, I think there are many challenges. Obviously, they're all important. I think efficiency is our biggest challenge. It's what our customers expect. More stages, more hours of pumping per day, doing this all safely and efficiently, and of course at attractive pricing for our customers. I would classify all that under efficiency. Of course, the other things, emissions, all those things are important as well. But I would say trying to be the most efficient operator out there. It's what Catalyst focuses on every day. I think that's the most important challenge for all of for us and our competition day in, day out.
And Seth, can you follow up or give you your side of it as well?
Sure. I mean, to kind of tail into what Bobby's saying, efficiency equals production for our customers. Being able to get more stages completed in a certain amount of time, it reduces their overall cost. It gets production online sooner for them. And I think that's, being able to do that in an efficient and safe manner has become very important. certainly, as we look at emissions and kind of waste streams and the other benefits that technologies can bring, those are certainly have gained much have gained much headway in the last couple of years for sure. So.
Well, thank you guys both for that. Okay, this question is for either one of you. There is an increased focus globally on improvements for ESG, environmental, social, and governance in fracking. How close is the industry to meeting those expectations from society?
David,
I think we've made, I'm sorry, Bobby. I think we've made good headway in the last few years. There's been technologies over the last maybe 4 or 5 years that have made, inroads into certainly higher, being more conscious of what we do and how we do it. I think you're going to continue to see those technologies grow, and you'll continue to see innovation in that space.
Yeah, I certainly agree. I think, honestly, I think that our industry has a long way to go to get to where we need to be on emissions. We're focused on CO2 emissions. I know there's been a lot of innovation in this industry in the past, and it's getting us there. But honestly, our industry still burns a lot of diesel. There is a transition to natural gas, which is much, much cleaner, and looking at other sources of energy for our frac fleets. But I think we've got a long way to go still. Hopefully, some of the innovations that Catalyst and some of the other companies in this space are working toward improving that. I would think over the next 2 to 3 to 5 years, we'll be very close to where we need to be, and I would guess emissions from completions of oil and gas wells will be tremendously reduced.
Okay, what types of technologies and innovations will bring expectations and reality closer together? Do we need to re-examine our approach to turbines and other aspects?
Well, I think the real upside is around trying to use natural gas or using natural gas as a fuel. So prior years, most of fracturing was done with diesel fleets. Prior to Tier 4 equipment, some of the Tier 2 equipment was fairly dirty and fairly polluting to the environment. And the change to Tier 4 diesel certainly was a step in the right direction. The next step that we're trying to take now is to go to natural gas fuel, which will much cleaner. It's almost the equivalent of a power plant running on coal versus natural gas. It's a tremendous reduction in CO2 emissions and some of the other NOx and sulfur and some of those other pollutants out there as well. So the change to natural gas is the key to making, I think, the next step in where we need to go with emissions reductions.
Excellent. Oh, go ahead, Seth.
No, I agree. It wasn't, but less than 4 years ago, we were typically burning somewhere between 16 and 18,000 gallons of diesel per day on a typical fleet in the Permian Basin. Today, because of efficiencies that we've gained through operational efficiencies, on the pad, that consumption is north of 30,000 gallons a day. So there's been a big increase in the consumption of diesel because of our efficiencies, and that's got an impact. Certainly an emissions impact. And then, just today I fueled up one of my vehicles and I paid over $5 a gallon for diesel, which 4 years ago it was significantly under that. So there's a cost perspective and there's an emissions perspective. And when we can use regional really local natural gas, there's just a big benefit for all parties. And certainly from an emission standpoint as well.
All right, so where do your projects fit into this mix? It is clear that both of you obviously have a passion for new technologies and lowering the environmental impact. What are you working on at Catalyst that the audience may find of interest? Bobby, let's start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. You know, I think we've when we started Catalyst, we were fortunate that we didn't have a lot of older legacy equipment that we kind of had to deal with in the equation. So we started with new stuff. We're a very young company. We've been in business a couple of years. But when we started Catalyst, we started it with an eye toward doing things a little bit differently. We looked at every technology out there that would make us more efficient, less emissions, lower cost. So we were fortunate in that we had the opportunity to start with a blank sheet and do things from scratch the way we wanted to do those. We've looked at all technologies. There's a lot of focus in the industry now on electric systems. And I think those are great engineering wise, technology wise. One of the problems with those systems that we have a difficult time getting comfortable with is the cost around electric generators and VFDs, and a lot of the equipment that goes with those systems is very expensive. And it's, of course, we're a private company. We have investors that they expect a return on their investment, and we justify every project we do with a return on investment calculation. So we elected to go a little bit different route. We were aware of technology that had been in the industry before that had not done as well with a turbine engine that can burn natural gas and run very clean, high horsepower and a small footprint, but implementing that into a direct drive system that would drive a pump instead of a diesel engine. So that's the path we've chosen. We think it checks many of the boxes: emissions, footprint, waste, burns natural gas, so very low price. We think it'll be low price of maintenance. So just, if you take a step back and look at the financial metrics, the emission metrics, we think that makes a lot more sense going forward by implementing turbines to directly drive our pumping equipment.
Wow, it's obvious that you guys definitely did your homework on this one. It sounds like there was somebody in there who's really good at math and potentially Excel to be able to figure all that out. Seth, how does this technology find shelf space in today's market? What are the differentiators of this technology compared to what is already out there?
Yeah, David, great question. But I ask, who doesn't like saving money? We certainly, there's a lot of other benefits, but when you look at reducing system cost north of 20%, that appeals to a lot of people. And it's an impressive technology to see. Once you see it and you see it run and you see how small of a footprint and how much location size we're able to save. Another thing, workforce these days, it's hard. It's getting harder and harder. We're all competing for it seems like a shrinking workforce. So requiring less units and that having an impact on your workforce count is beneficial. But realistically, at this point, it's a lot about emission. It's about the efficiency, and it's about the economics around replacing 25, 30,000 plus gallons a day of liquid fuel burn with natural gas. And it's just that appeals to across the board to people. And I think because we've been doing it and we've successfully proved it, it's no longer kind of maybe a dream. It's something that's real and that people can see. So that's what we're seeing with it. It kind of, to use an old phrase, it somewhat sells itself in the fact that just as Bobby said, it checks all the boxes.
Well, and what's the name of the system?
VortexPrime.
VortexPrime. Okay. So now if I want to say that I want to be the sales rep for VortexPrime, mainly because it sells itself and I wouldn't have to do anything, are you guys looking for that position?
Yeah, we might. Yeah, that's true.
Right. All right. Could you guys share some case studies? I mean, because obviously you said that, this wasn't like a dream. This was something that you guys have already done. Can you share some the backstory, some of the case studies of how this came about and what were some of the initial big wins for you?
We're working on, case studies and white papers and those things now. I can tell you from the field, the feedback has been really amazing. We've had some of these units mixed in with existing technology, and that's where you really see the difference, between kind of, I say old, but old and new, or existing and new. And it really resonates with people from a noise perspective, from just a sheer horsepower and the ability to make rate. I know you had one of the items on there with barrels per minute, and these are high rate, high horsepower units. And sometimes there's a need to go faster, and this unit typically possesses the ability to ramp up and go and somewhat, kind of save the day when other pumps, are experiencing some type of mechanical issue. So we've witnessed that, and that's been exciting for us to see that. And just overall, the feedback has been great.
Excellent. So we have kind of a funny question here. It's CPHK Energy Goddess says, can we also be a sales rep of this technology? So that brings me to the next question is, where are you guys operating with this? Because obviously here in U.S. land, we have a lot of natural gas. That's something that is plentiful. Is this a system that can work abroad, overseas, deep water? Is it any drilling operation that's capable of doing this?
David,
drilling operation, sorry, fracking operation.
Yeah, our focus is primarily U.S. and primarily Permian Basin. So we're based in Midland, Texas. Our operations focus is on the Permian Basin. So West Texas and Southeast New Mexico are our primary areas. We've done some work in the Rockies and currently doing some work there as well. Of course, those areas are great applications for this technology as well. One of the things that we see frequently is when we talk to the public is 8 trucks in a fleet versus 20 trucks in a fleet makes a big difference with traffic up and down the road. And if you've been to West Texas in this area, there's oil-filled equipment up and down the road all the time, and it's there's traffic jams, and it's very, very busy. So reducing that truck traffic, we think, is a big deal as well. And I think the public at large will appreciate not having as many trucks backed up at the stop sign or the stop in the future.
Yeah, I think anybody would definitely vote for less traffic in Midland
Yes.
at any point in time. All right, so we do have a question that's coming in here. Any studies on future capture of CO2 from exhaust stacks from the turbines, which could then be used or re-injected at the pad? That's from Bob. Bob, thank you for your question and participating in today's show.
Yeah, we've done some emission studies where we've studied exhaust from some of these from some of these units, and really we're in the process of comparing those to some of the diesel units, some of the positive displacement motors that will burn gas as well. So We're in the process of doing an overall study of that. We're early on in that study. We have not thought about to date or looked at capturing, I guess, the CO2 exhaust from the emissions from a fleet and injecting that into a CO2 injection well. It's an interesting idea. It's a really great idea that would basically give you a system that generates zero emissions and zero CO2 or CO2 equivalent to the atmosphere. So, I think it's an interesting idea. It's probably a couple of steps away for us at this point.
Yeah,
Well,
I like the thought of, I like the thought of capturing from 8 trucks versus 20. Seems simpler to me, just sitting here thinking about it. So maybe this technology could really aid in that endeavor when the time comes.
So maybe just a quick adjacent. Can this be used on the drilling side as well?
There are drillers that actually are looking into. Most of the rigs these days are electric rigs, and they have a generator on site. And I know a lot of the drillers now use either biofuel, positive displacement engines to run their gen sets to power their rigs, or some of them are absolutely looking at 100% gas as well. So, but the same concept. A drilling rig is probably 1,500, 2,000 horsepower versus a frac fleet that's 25,000 horsepower. So the scale is different, but the application for drilling operation could be the same thing.
Excellent. All right. So, Seth, you had mentioned before the benefits of regional fuel versus diesel. Can you elaborate on what that means and touch on the benefits for the operators?
Sure. So, we talk about it. It's some people understand this and some don't, but we produce oil here. We ship it off to refineries. Sometimes as far away as the Gulf Coast, it's refined into fuel. It's brought back here, and then back to the number of truckloads per day that support a fleet. That's the tanker full of fuel that's rolling through school zones and towns and across bridges, and so that's a bit of a laborious process for that to happen. Where a regional fuel, like something produced locally, like natural gas, that may require very minimal refinement, and oftentimes the technology is being developed to refine that literally at the site. Could greatly reduce that amount of traffic, and it could provide the efficiency of not shipping something off, refining it and bringing it back. So when you look at it from a cost perspective, and of course, we look at things, as Bobby said earlier, kind of from a financial lens, there's a really big savings just from the efficiency of that. Of course, there's the differential on fuel costs between diesel and natural gas, but there's just a lot of additional benefits, and a lot of it comes down to the efficiency of it. Burning natural gas that's produced locally, I say regionally, but oftentimes it could be 10 miles or less from where we're performing our work. So that versus something that has to go, hundreds of miles away possibly, and be refined and brought back, and then trucked in on a daily basis. So that's what I meant.
Excellent. All right. So we did have 2 poll questions earlier. What is the greatest pressure on frac operators in the industry today? Our answer choices were increasing ROI for investors, decreasing emissions, better efficiency, faster production, and other. And so ROI is the massive winner there. You guys give me your thoughts on the results of the poll.
Yeah, I think that's interesting information. Obviously, our ROI to investors is the big metric. They invest in our business for a return, and it's our responsibility to generate acceptable returns. I think the close-in history of this business in the last year and a half or so has not been great. ROI has been suffering just due to the pandemic and a lot of other issues within our business. We've had some fairly low commodity prices. Of course, that's changed significantly in the last few weeks. So we look forward to the future in 22. I think you'll see within the industry a continuing rise in return on invested capital. Hopefully that will attract some investment into our business that will help us invest in new equipment and accomplish some of these goals with reduced emissions, being more efficient, reduced labor needs, reduced traffic on the highways, all the things that go with, the VortexPrime technology and similar technologies that others are doing. We need to justify those investments, and making a return is how you do that. So I think that's going to get better in the future, and we look forward to that.
And Seth, y'all had some visual aids that y'all wanted to be able to show us. Can you talk us through those?
Sure. I'm going to look at a sheet here just so I can see it a little bit better. But a fleet of these units, as we'd said earlier, are 8. There's 8 of the turbine, direct drive turbine VortexPrime units in a fleet. They're built on a body load chassis. We had an event in Houston a couple weeks ago, and we kind of had it there for unveiling, and people got to see it, and it's pretty impressive, really positive feedback. That saves, it's a really big reduction on the size of space required to set up a fleet. And realistically, for just a little bit more space than's currently being used, we could have 2 fleets doing a simul-frac, job, which is pretty amazing, really, because those are really intense, energy intense, equipment intense operations. So, it's a 15,000 PSI system. These pumps, when they're properly equipped, can run up to 25 barrels per minute each. So pretty crazy, outputs on them. This is a Catalyst designed, Catalyst built, Catalyst IP technology. This isn't something we bought. This is something we built. And it's fully self-contained. We wanted it to be standalone. So we drive it where we're going. We hook up fuel to it. We tie into the sand and water, and we tie into the well through manifold, and we're good to go. So I'm really excited about the fact that it's a self-sufficient, self-supportive, equipment. Then we started looking outside, like areas where land is really at a premium. In some of the areas you're fracking in urban areas, to literally in someone's backyard almost, it seems, and sometimes on the side of a mountain where you had to do a lot of dirt work to prepare. And this technology lends itself very well to those environments. There's a lot of increased safety built into this. We have and it's safety, but it's also emissions. We can shut this down, go from full horsepower to complete shutdown, start the unit back up, and go back to full horsepower in under 5 minutes. We've done it in under 4 minutes, which is really impressive. It saves on emissions just because you're not idling these units, and it also saves fuel as well. So it saves cost, but there's also an emissions impact. So those are real beneficial things. These are all very long life components. So when we talk comparing them to internal combustion engines, many of these components have 2 to 3 times the life of some of that existing technology. So turbines are, they're the ones that we use are military grade, which is they're robust. They're built really strong. They're aero derivatives, so a lot of them we're not trying to keep people in the air, but we love the reliability that technology brings to the frac world. it makes our job easier and our teams their job easier. So those are some of the real high level benefits of it, other than all the things that we've already discussed. But sounds pretty. I know sometimes people say it sounds unbelievable, but hey, we're doing it. So,
Well, thank you guys both so much. We've reached the end of our time slot here for the show today. But Seth, Bobby, thank you both so much for being here. We'll throw up a graphic on how to be able to get in touch with you guys, because if you want to reach out to all three of us here on LinkedIn, so Seth, Bobby, and myself, if you want to, just send us a connection request. And if you have more questions, please be sure to shoot them off to them. And we'll also let these guys know if we missed any of the questions that are in the comment section right now, that we will throw those back out there. So for everybody out there watching, thank you all so much for being here for this SPE Tech Talk. Please be sure to stay tuned to the other ones here in the near future. As I always say, until we see you next time, know your industry.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thanks.
The energy industry is evolving rapidly. To stay informed, you need relevant content available when and where it's convenient for you. Introducing the SPE Energy Stream, the energy sector's platform for quality content from around the world. Energy Stream gives you access to technical solutions, innovations, trending topics, thought leadership, market outlooks, and education. From original programs to exclusive SPE event presentations, this easy-to-navigate platform features insightful content delivered live and on demand. Explore insights from industry thought leaders, then save the videos that interest you so you can watch them at your convenience. Stay ahead of the curve. Start watching SPE Energy Stream today.